Uh, Howdy, folks. I'm Keith Bowen. This is live from the Adobe Hovel.
I will be on in a few minutes, people.
I've been working all day. I'm going to have to go to work in the morning. And so I just thought I'd do a quick little live stream and let you all know what's going on and give anyone who's got an urgent question a chance to ask it. So basically, it's all been Christmas trees since the last time. Tomorrow morning, I got to be at work at 8 o'clock, and we'll be offloading about 25 tons of Christmas trees.
Yeah, they want you there about 7:30.
7:30?
I believe it's at 7:45. I will double check on
Wow, even earlier.
just to make sure that
Bummer.
everybody's there to start as soon as the truck comes in.
And so anyhow, you got to be there fairly early in the morning, and then work till 8:30 in the evening out at the lot as soon as we get done loading. What is work? Work is exertion that you accomplish in order to eat.
7:45.
Pretty much, Lars. If you don't need to, I wouldn't recommend it. But anyhow, so as I say, it's going to be like that all week. Working basically 12-hour shifts and working hard. And unfortunately, the shoulder is not doing too well. Sometime in the week before all this, I did something and kind of messed things up. It's feeling better now. Ouch. But, slinging Christmas trees is evidently not proper physical therapy for whatever the heck it is. So we'll just have to see what happens. In terms of mining stuff, not doing too much of that.
Nothing worth doing ever
I'm live.
came easy.
Yeah, I know. I'm turning it on for
It's a great video. But anyhow, 6 12-hour days for 6 months. Yeah, that it can be done. You can't have a life. It's best if you don't have children or anything like that. But so anyhow, I'm holding up pretty well, except for the shoulder, which is stable. It's not getting any worse, but it is quite uncomfortable. Other than that, physiologically, I'm doing fine. Let's see. Any other news of any import? Minor Bago's working fine. I'm driving it back and forth to work every day, so Eva can sleep in late, come out and help me in the afternoon, evening, and then come back in long before I do using the other truck, and that seems to be working pretty well. And but the Bago seems to be running smooth. No real issues.
Laundry day was rest day in Adak, Alaska.
Hey, Dak, yeah.
Yep,
Eva the Wreath Wraith.
That's me, the Wreath.
Yeah, maybe we can get a picture next time.
Hey, Aries, we just got on a couple of minutes ago. You haven't missed anything.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's because this is just a quickie little thing, Aries. I just got home from work, basically, and I'm going to have to I got to get up in 8 hours, 30 minutes to get 8 hours sleep.
At 7:45 at work.
Yeah. 7:45, huh? Okay. So anyhow, so I don't have a whole lot of time, but I thought I'd say hi to everybody, let everyone know I'm doing okay, and give people a chance to chat with each other and maybe ask questions.
Oh, we're doing great, David. I've been rocking my wreath game.
Forrest, don't say that. Eva will hurt you.
Forrest, Bugs is a good boy. Be quiet. Bugs is a good boy, and yes, he is good for at least another 500,000 miles, Chris. You're the rocket scientist, you know everything.
Well, amazingly, those things,
Hi, Wolfman.
until you start cracking the frame or something, you can always just keep putting new parts on it.
Yeah, I have a lot of energy at the moment, Aries. I'm feeling good. Poor Bear is, well, you see, I can't lift any of the Christmas trees, okay? When they're bundled up, I can put a 5-foot one on my shoulder, but he has to do all the heavy work. All I do is sell trees like crazy and make wreaths. I am a good tree salesperson.
She's a good salesperson. When she gets into the salesperson mode, she is kick-ass. I mean, I kid you not. She's got energy. Someone comes in looking for a Christmas tree, and she's like, "So, what is it we need this tree for? What is the room? What is?" I mean, she's really, really good. So
we don't do flocking on our lot, Chris. They do it on another lot, and I don't bother upselling it because personally, I think it's a bad deal. I don't like to sell my people anything that I personally think is a bad deal. So we have a couple of things on the lot that are like really ridiculously overpriced that I don't even mention.
the one item that I think just isn't that great, they have fake mistletoe. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but
I mean, that's like a fake kiss. This is just
that's what I think you would get under fake mistletoe. A girl would look at that and go like, okay, fake mistletoe. Guess what? You just got a fake kiss. It's simulated.
Hi, sailing.
You know.
Well, Chris, that's because you've got something called snow. We don't. Though I keep telling Bear there's really nothing, intrinsically bad about snow. I like
solid
snow.
dihydrogen monoxide sounds scary to me, especially driving. It's like weird. No traction. Who's missing the
mistletoe forest is asking who's missing the toe.
Yeah. No, I say I just
leave it out in a dust storm after spraying with glue. That may or may not work. We haven't had any dust storms lately.
Although it's been pretty windy out there for a couple of days. Eva couldn't really even make wreaths because the stuff would blow off the table. I pulled.
So Lars wants to know about the fake mistletoe. You want to know how bad this is, people? We're talking silk leaves that aren't even properly shaped like mistletoe leaves, not even glossy like mistletoe leaves, and white plastic berries with like the raised plastic edges around them because where they ejected out of the molds, and they're not even the right size. This is the saddest looking dollar store stuff I have ever seen in my life. I've seen better fake mistletoe at Big Lots and Dollar Tree.
Well,
and
my boss may see this little one. No, the trees are good.
The trees are amazing.
Yeah.
The trees are great. The wreaths, of course, are amazing because I make them.
But no, the trees are hauled from Oregon. They cut them down a couple days before they ship them. And then they show up here. And we've actually had them show up with snow still on them. We've actually had to dig them out of snow.
Chris, we have amazing. Actual real mistletoe on our trees here, but it's not the kind you see for Christmas. It's the skinny desert mistletoe that is absolutely ugly. Don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And no, Forrest, it did not work on me. It's ridiculous. All you get from me, if you put me under that fake mistletoe, is one of those branch COVIDian mask kisses. Not gonna go there.
Yep.
And Aries, we had a puppy on the lot yesterday that was eagerly eating the Christmas trees. It was funny. No idea why, but this puppy was just going nuts eating the trees.
And if you're curious what the price of Christmas trees is in Tucson, A 5-foot Douglas fir runs $90. Now these are top quality trees. This is not at Home Depot or whatever that's been
No, these are
refrigerated for a couple of
beautiful,
months.
fresh trees from a family farm in Oregon.
Yeah.
They get to us less than 5 days after they were cut.
But 6-foot Douglas will be $90, and a 6-foot Nordman or what do you call them? Noble fir. Those are $112.
Well, sailing, I would think that artillery people would get mistletoe.
But no, artillery is more like rockets, not missiles.
Okay.
Missiles have guidance systems. Rockets don't.
If you say so, Bear.
Mm-hmm. But anyhow, the bigger trees can get pretty expensive. Don't know if I've sold anything over $300 yet, but for example, this morning there was a
That first, we sold a $340 tree.
what was that, 11-foot something?
Yeah, it was like an 11-foot.
Yeah, okay. Because I sold a 10-foot spruce this morning. That's $300. I was even able to sell it already wrapped up. I had a 10-foot spruce there, and the guy liked it, but he had a Suburban, and he needed to fit it inside the Suburban. And I'm like, I mean, this thing's like 6 feet across.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
Ina pulled in the top dog today at 64.
Little one, that's confidential. We're not authorized to say that. But anyhow, so I said, I got one there, the same length. Should be, you know, looking at it about the same bulk and everything. Because last night we were trying to decide which one for someone else. And I said, if you don't like it when you get it home, you bring it back and I'll change it for this one here that that you said you want. So he took it, and I didn't have to stand it or anything. Just cut the thing and
No,
slide
we
it
don't
in.
have any $3 Charlie Brown trees, Lars. We have some beautiful natural trees that are like 10, 15 feet tall. They're gorgeous.
No, the smallest tree we have is a little, what are they, about 3 feet? 2.5, 3 feet?
Yeah, 3 feet.
They call them tabletop trees. They're $40. We sell stands, all that other stuff, all the ancillary things that go with it. And I would say the biggest issue out there is cold wind. That can be really unpleasant. I've learned how to back the bago in right next to, where we're working, so that it can block the wind if it's coming from the east. Yeah, a tabletop tree is nice for something. By the way, little one, I came up with a name for the tabletops.
What?
A princess tree.
A princess tree. Cool.
Isn't that cool? Anyhow.
Bear getting a marketing thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally the trees we get in on the truck, I don't handle the really big ones, but they have them. They'll be special order and stuff. I mean, we'll have trees that take 5 people to lift them.
Well, wait a minute. Our trees are generally about 4 to 5 days old when they hit the lot. They're not a couple of months old like you get at Costco or Lowe's. If you buy from like the big box stores, they mow down the trees at the end of October and put them in deep refrigeration. So by the time they hit the stores, they've already been cut down for a month. That's why they drop needles the way they do. Wolfman says, what about a bachelor tree? That sounds good.
Yeah, I think the little tabletops are a good bachelor tree.
A Christmas tumbleweed. That sounds cool.
Yep. Oh,
that is freaking awesome. Did he spray paint it with gold spray paint? That would look amazing. Actually, I ought to do that.
Eva's got a really good idea. We have some trees. We have 4 trees out there that are called naturals. You may not realize it, but to get a Christmas tree all bushy, they have to prune the top on a regular basis while it's growing to force it to go out. If you don't do that, it grows up and the branches are more widely spaced. They look really cool, but they don't look like a conventional Christmas tree. And Eva wants to take one and put what is it? Teddy bears?
Teddy bears.
On the
I'm
trunk?
figuring teddy bears wrapped around the trunk with ornaments that look like giant pieces of candy and strings of lights with gummy bears put over the lights, things that look like gummy bears over the lights, so it's a Candyland tree. Then I want to take another one and put sock monkeys going up the trunk and have like coconut ornaments and orchids and stuff and make a Curious George tree. And no Aries, aspirin in the water actually does not do a darn thing. Neither does bleach, neither does sugar.
I would think bleach would be bad. I mean, bleach has two things in it. One is a strong oxidizer. The other is highly corrosive. They have lye in bleach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people use a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
Hi, John.
Hello, John. As I just everyone know, this is just going to be a quick hit because I got to be up in 9 hours or no less than that now. 8 hours and 15 minutes. I have to be awake and getting at it again. So this is going to be a quick, but I just thought I'd get the community together, say hi, let you know how I'm doing, and like that.
Lars says he puts Gorilla Glue in the water. Never tried that one. I would try spraying Gorilla Glue on the needles. That would keep them on.
I have no idea. This is getting very, very scary.
Patrick wanted to know if there's any significance to peacock ore.
You mean if it looks iridescent and kind of peacock? Is that what you mean? That would generally be a really high copper ore, like is it called cuprite, Chris? I think, but I mean pure copper sulfide. But yeah, if you see, peacock, that usually means good
sodium
copper.
Silicate, huh? That may actually be what they put in the tree preservative we sell. I don't know what's in that stuff, but it does work. I don't know. Sailing, I imagine a tumbleweed tree, if you spray painted it gold or silver, it would probably look really freaking cool.
If you got a sluice box and plenty of water, you really don't need a rocker box. Rocker box is used when water is in short supply. They work fine, but they're not really necessary unless you're trying to save the water.
Forrest wants to know if we've ever heard of the Roadrunner Prospector Club.
I've heard the name. I've never talked to any of them or whatever.
Yeah, the ones we used to talk to were what?
Desert Gold Diggers.
Desert Gold Diggers.
Desert Gold Diggers. Yeah. And as I've heard the name, but that's all. I have no information on them at all.
Chris Ralph is actually currently doing
That's
a
right.
series on copper prospecting.
That's right. He is on YouTube. Absolutely. By the way, if anyone has any mining questions or whatever, another possibility, everyone here let me know. I could also leave the live stream running a bit after I go to bed, and then Eva could just shut it off. If you guys want to talk to each other and communicate, we could do that for a little bit without me actually having to be present. So let me know if you guys want to do that or not. If not, no big deal. I'm trying to think.
Chris says, sure, go to bed and we'll cause trouble without you.
Oh, I'm sure you can probably get my channel banned or something.
David, we have used Bear's Brothers Mine Lab a couple of times.
Yeah. The thing I found about the Mine Lab GPX 5000 is what he's got. The backpack is kind of heavy and cumbersome. It works fine, but it's a lot of equipment. And unless you've got the conditions that require that level of technical, sophistication, you'd probably be better off going with like a Gold Bug 2 or a Gold Monster. I've seen those things pick up real small targets in real life. I don't know the depth, but I know the Mine Lab is really designed for heavily mineralized ground and stuff like that. So if you don't need a big mine lab, then I would suggest going with a smaller detector just because it's a lot easier to use.
And yes, Forrest, his finger healed up great. Show Forrest your finger, Bear.
What, from Idaho?
Yeah.
Yeah. See? No big deal. Just a little shorter. Did the same thing to this one years before. Now I got to express myself in shorthand. But but anyhow, that's my experience with the GPX 5000 is that
Yeah, your brother is selling
it's
those.
kind of cumbersome, but I mean, if you need that level of sophistication, you need that level of sophistication.
Sailing's got a gold bug too. Hardly ever uses it.
Yeah, and again, if you're dealing with an area that has a lot of trash, like Chris Georgie's claim near his campground, where there's bullets and cartridge casings everywhere, it gets very, very frustrating digging up trash. My brother and I were using it one time out there, and it was near an old bombing range, and we were, picking up 50 caliber casings and bullets and things like this from back in World War II, and so I'm sure there's people that the person I'd ask about metal detectors would be either Chris Georgie, and he's got a couple really good videos on metal detectors and stuff, and what can do what, etc. So Chris Ralph is really good on some of his videos. The other ones would be I Break for Bedrock. Those guys use them all the times and find gold. They know how to use them. But yeah, the Falcon, the little Falcon doesn't have much range or whatever. I mean, it's not good for searching. If you're looking like in a vein trying to find some real small gold, not a bad idea, but it doesn't have much volume that it searches at a time. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, Chris. There's too many Chris's out there. Yes, Chris Ralph. That's what I want. Okay, I'm not aware of what Two Toes does. I can only follow so many.
What was your best day of mining ever?
My best day, or the best day where I was part of a crew mining, because the best day of a crew mining. Oh, I don't have my calculator here. Let me see. 14,000. Probably moved 1,000 ounces in one day. But we moved 14,000 tons of ore too. So, when we hit the high grade, and for that open pit heap leach, 1/10 of an ounce a ton was high grade, really high grade. Yeah, that added up real quick. Me personally, we probably it was dredging with Mike up in Idaho. Forrest was up in the area at the time. That's where we met Forrest. I think the best we ever did one day was about 1/3 of an ounce on the dredge. Nothing, no real nuggets or anything. I think the whole time we were dredging, we got like one picker, you could actually pick up.
13K is out near Joshua Tree.
What, who, where?
13K.
Oh, there it is.
We haven't done anything around Joshua.
An old Spanish shipwreck. Well, if you happen to have one located, we could see what we could do. Yeah, full of gold and stuff. That would be good. That would be much better than full of tobacco.
No, I would love to find an old shipwreck. That would be cool.
Yeah, you would love that. Oh, she's a history buff.
Oh, emeralds. That would be nice. And really neat artifacts.
Yeah.
A lot of Trump flags and stickers, huh? Cool people up there.
Where are you at? Is that Joshua Tree? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, not only recovering loot without getting it stolen, but also without getting it taken by the government. You know?
Oh, come on, Forrest. There's bound to be a shipwreck around here somewhere. There was once an ocean here.
Crazy things you experienced while mining. Let's see. I've told some stories here, but I don't want to get too repetitive if I can avoid it. Let's see. Rattlesnakes. That's not terribly exciting. Let's see. I had all kinds of fun, but crazy experiences. I guess the person we originally went up there on the Middle Fork of the Boise to work with, that was kind of crazy. Some of the people you meet in this business are a little bit odd. He was a little bit odder than most.
Aries wants to know if you ever think about having educational outings.
So far I've been doing that kind of one-on-one, which is fine with me. But if some people want to get together and schedule some, I mean, just rent me for a day, fine with me. If you have a a club or something like that, and I'm in the vicinity and I've got a free day, be happy to give a talk or something like that. Not a problem. You know me, I love to yak. I should be trying to get to sleep right now and I'm yakking. That probably tells you something.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like when we were up there.
I've got a good one on the crazy stories of mining. Okay. Now, when you are blasting in a production type setting, open pit, things get pretty routine. You just drill the holes on the same pattern, load them the same way, everything's the same, no big deal. And it's pretty darn routine. However, there was a couple of times when I worked at Chemical where we had some non-routine situations. So one of these was a blast. Now, let's say you're blasting an area. This is unblasted material here, and this is blasted already. So when you blast it, you'll set off the holes in a series of delays like this and kind of throw the rock forward and towards the center. Now, the problem happened when we had a blast that came to like that. Now, what happens is actually more in the back of the blast. Here was the front, this was the back. So as you can see, there's no real place for it to expand to here. And what you need to do in a case like that is load less explosives in the holes, because since it's got nowhere to go sideways, that leaves one direction, up. So we've got this blast loaded. Yeah, it's a routine procedure. And then some guys wanted to watch. Some of the crew wanted to watch the blast. And we also had some visitors that wanted to watch. So to blast, we had a 992 loader, which has, thick steel on the bucket. So we just take the bucket and turn it over like this and facing away from the blast. You set off the blast, and then you've got, inch and a half of steel over your head. And that's pretty good. And one time my brother and I, some rock hit that. I don't know, it was about this big. Bounced, I don't know how high up in the air, came back down again and left a dent this deep in a haul road that was as tough as asphalt. So that thing really rang our ears. It was really hard. And, but anyhow, so we had confidence that the bucket is strong. And so I set off the blast. And I'm watching when I set these things off. I mean, I'm standing out from under the bucket, shoot it, watch the initiation sequence and the blast, and then just stand under the loader bucket just for safety's sake. By the way, if you're ever near a blast and it goes off, don't look this way. That one's not going to hurt you. That's the one that's going to kill you. Is the one that's coming in at a real high angle. The rocks are not very aerodynamic. They get thrown up, they lose their velocity, and they come back down almost straight down. So look high. That's the one that's going to get you. Anyhow, so I set off this blast, and it looked just fine up until the last couple of holes in that corner went off. And I just saw shit, boom, straight up in the air. And I'm like, crap, take cover. And everyone's underneath this loader bucket. Now, when the rocks were hitting the ground, they weren't just hitting and bouncing. They were hitting and shattering. It was relatively frangible rock, and we were beating it up pretty good. And so when it was hitting, it was scattering everywhere. And so having your feet on the ground was not a safe place for them to be, but it's very hard to levitate. Although I did see a 300-pound man balancing on the rear end of the shank of a tooth on the loader bucket. It's about this wide, and he's up there. Ah! And luckily, none of the rocks reached the guests who were another, 150 yards away or whatever. But that was pretty exciting. Just crap coming down all around us and scattering everywhere. Yeah, exactly. Dance, boy, dance. Exactly. So anyhow, that was really exciting. Now, there was another time, same mine, and we were drilling holes and loading them with ammonium nitrate fuel oil mixture. Now, ANFO is cheap. If it has the energy and detonation velocity you need for that rock, it works just fine. It has one drawback, though, that is really, really serious in the wrong conditions. That is, it cannot handle water. It dissolves, and it doesn't make an explosive when it dissolves. It just ruins it. So when you're drilling your blast holes, if you hit some groundwater that's seeping in, you've got an issue that has to be dealt with. There's different ways you can do this. One way they do now is they'll run a pump down the hole, pump the hole out, and drop literally a thick-walled plastic sock down the hole, and then fill it up with ANFO. And the sock, is watertight, and will keep back the water and allow you to use the inexpensive explosive in conditions where it normally wouldn't work. Well, in our case, we had very few of these holes. And so instead of all this complicated, we just, Apache powder had a different kind of explosive that was, look, for everything in the world, like Jello, although kind of gooey, with cottage cheese in it. And it was some kind of weird gel with the ANFO. I'm not sure how they made it. I don't care. And yeah, I don't know if it was even a true emulsion, Chris. But anyhow, whatever it was something that was relatively new to their stable of explosives, because they were trying to make something that was water resistant and cheap. And they said one of the problems with it was relatively insensitive. So they recommended double priming it. Now, if you have a hole, typically you'd put one high explosive booster with a blasting cap at the bottom, fill it with explosives to a certain level, and then fill it with drill cuttings to the surface to hold the explosives in. Well, these guys said, no, with this stuff, you're probably best to double prime it. Put a booster at the bottom, put a booster at the top of the explosives. Just before you're finishing filling the explosives, throw a little bit more down there and then stem the hole. Okay, fine. And we were using about 1 pound sausages of, it was a cap sensitive emulsion, plastic sausages. And you just put a little hole in it, stick the blasting cap in. And these were, I forget what they are. They're a delay cap that's designed to be hooked to a piece of detonating cord. And so you just have a short plastic shock tube and then a loop, and you just tie the det cord to the loop. So you put the blasting cap in the sausage, put the shock tube around the side, and just tape it with electrical tape. You know, no big deal. Then you'd lower it down on the dead cord. Well, as we were filling one of these holes, the person holding the det cord downline lost it. Lost his grip on it. Wasn't paying attention. So we immediately stopped the shoveling of cuttings. We're like, okay, what are we going to do now? Now, for those of you who don't know, the best way to look down a drill hole is with a mirror. Sun is very bright. You just take a mirror and shine it down the hole, and you'd be amazed at how well you can see. It really, really works well. So anyhow, we got a mirror, looked down the hole, and we could see a bunch of detonating cord all, you know, jumbled up there. And it's like, okay, well, we can't get to the explosives column with another booster. But there's the det cord. So what we'll do is we'll put another booster down there, put some explosives on top of that, stem the hole. Then when it goes off, that charge will set off the det cord, which will then go down and set off the main charge. At least we'll get it to go bang. We may not get the right initiation timing, but one thing you really don't like doing is digging into a muck pile and finding live explosives. So we dropped it down. You know, we're going to clean this up. We didn't have any more boosters right there because we put them by the holes and we were lowering them down. So I told this guy named John. Now, John was a good worker. He's one of the best workers there. Relatively smart, good hard worker, never complained, never bitched. One of your best workers. So I said, hey, John, go get another booster from the truck. So he goes over there, and this is a visual here. So let me see if I can get back and you can still see me. So anyhow, he's sitting there, goes to the truck, grabs the booster. Now he's just holding it by the little loop. And the sausage is hanging by the shock cord. And I go like this, just as a joke. And he went and threw it, which was not a joke in the slightest. So we have a 1 pound high explosive cap sensitive charge with a cap in it flying through the air towards about 5 guys going, oh crap. I tried to catch it. I couldn't get to it. It was a bad throw. It wound up way short. And so it landed about 6 feet in front of me and went bounce. Now, my adrenaline was up to here. But he was a good employee. You know, he had a brain fart. It's like, so clenching my teeth, I went over to him and said, John, get in that truck, find Joe Sawyer, have him do something with you until I calm down. This may take quite a while. Just go and get out of here. Right now, I can't deal with this. Oh, my God.
Jokin has a question for you. How common is it to see collector specimen caliber ore get sent to the mill instead of the museum?
If you're in a big mine, depending on the mill, pretty commonly, okay? Because they don't care about that. It slows them down in general if it's a big mine. Now, they may custom mill it. I worked at a mine where their average ore grade was running like 5/100ths of an ounce per ton, and one drill hole hit a hot pocket that was running like $100,000 a ton. So they cleared everyone out of the area, brought in a special crew, dug it up, put it in barrels, and hauled it off someplace else where they had a mill that could get very high recovery from it because it was worth it. I mean, an open pit heap leach type operation only gets about 60% recovery of the microfine gold. Something that rich is not microfine, so it's going to get even worse. So they want to send it to a mill where they're going to get 90+% recovery, which is what they did. But they didn't bother looking for specimen grade or anything like that. A smaller mine, yeah, they would generally segregate that and sell it for specimens. You can also go to some mines that used to have good high grade and metal detect their dumps and get specimen grade stuff at times.
Argonaut wants to know, can a small black powder charge act as a booster to detonate info?
I really don't know. I suspect not, because you have to get a certain velocity plus energy density. I don't think it has the velocity.
Chris says no.
Yeah. See, I was right.
That's Jeff Williams. Hi, Jeff. How slim? And yes, somebody said info. We've been talking about info.
Yeah. No, it's funny because Eva gets to see stuff before I do. For whatever reason, you guys actually see the chat a little bit before I do. Hey, Jeff, I'm not going to be here long because I'm just going. I got to go to sleep. I got to be up at 6 in the morning.
He's selling Christmas trees right now.
See? A multi-talented individual. But anyhow, nice to see you. And so it's pretty much selling a few stories, say hi, that sort of thing. And I say, I didn't want to go 3-4 weeks without a live stream. Yep. It's good to have a lot of different abilities, Jeff, so that no matter what happens, you can find something productive to do and
Well, I
keep a
bet
roof
Jeff
over
is
your
doing
head.
something super interesting these days.
I don't know. How's it going, Jeff? You got something interesting on the pot that we'll be finding out sooner or later?
Live AGs with primers should be handled like very fragile eggs. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I asked the guy in the explosives company, and he said, yeah, probably about a 2% chance of detonation. Now,
Jeff is doing drift mining, and he scored a nugget in AZ.
excellent.
Good.
Is that the placer drift mining? But yeah, I would have been screwed because it was right next to me.
And yes, he says placer drift.
Ah, cool. But on the other hand, if it had just happened to land on one of the downlines when it detonated and initiated that downline, and then we would have had something on the neighborhood of, gosh, what did we used to put in one of those holes?
A lot.
Over 100 pounds of ANFO going off. I mean, we would have had a number of tons of rock going up in the air right next to us. It would have been really, really ugly.
David, we all want some nuggets. Trust me, we all want some nuggets. Jeff finds nuggets a lot.
I want bars, just small bars. That's big enough. Anyhow, yeah, it could have been a very bad day. Absolutely, that was no fun. But yeah, explosives are one of those things. What was that old saying? Blasters do not learn by their mistakes. Yeah, you don't get away with
Slim has a couple of bars under his bunk, huh? Oh,
Wow.
He's holding out on you.
Wow.
Expanding compounds for breaking hard rock instead of blasting?
They can work.
I don't think
Although
we've tried any yet, but
we haven't tried any. We've evaluated them. I think that in a situation where applicable, something like a microblaster or a Sierra blaster would probably be more productive. One problem, for example,
Hi,
if you're
Jane
using,
Danska. Hi, Goldstream.
if you're trying to use expanding grout in an up hole or a horizontal hole, how do you keep the grout in it? And I mean, 100% filled with grout. That becomes a lot more challenging. Down holes are pretty easy. You can fill those and they'll stay filled without a problem. But say with a microblaster or Sierra blaster, if that's legally feasible in your situation, you probably be a lot easier. You got to drill a lot smaller hole. One of the problems with the expanding grout is the holes have to be spaced like no more than 10 times the hole diameter. as I recall. So if you wanted to take off, say, a 10-inch slab of rock thick, then you need to drill a 1-inch hole every 10 inches. Now that's a lot of serious drilling. With a microblaster type thing, you could probably go a 5/16 hole.
Well, Jeff
Every
points
foot.
out that double-base powders can do it if they're initiated with high-velocity charge or if confined to create detonation.
By double base powders, I presume he means the ones that you mix on site, where neither one is an explosive. Then you mix them together, and it becomes an explosive. Yeah, those. I mean, it's real explosive stuff.
And yes, Forrest, any blast you live to tell about's a good one. It's the same thing as any landing you can walk away from is a good landing.
Yeah, I saw one on Blanco Lirio yesterday, or actually this morning, where a guy had to land on a freeway at night and did a pretty good job. If the guy in the SUV hadn't, had given him a little room, he would have made it without a scratch.
Chris Giorgi says smokeless gunpowder, nitroguanidine in there, if I recall. Yeah, Blindside. I had a pilot tell me that once too. I am not a person who likes to fly.
Yeah, she's not a big flying type person. I, on the other hand, enjoy it. Doesn't
You
bother me,
also
but
enjoy listening
I also get
to
sick though.
crashes and watching crash videos. I don't know why.
No, it's called emergencies and how people deal with emergencies in real time. I find it interesting to see how people act in a real emergency situation, because, like 9/11, you can sit there and watch a documentary on 9/11, and you'll see a number of things, but you won't usually see people in real time doing something where they don't know what's going on. There was one.
David asked you a question here if you want to take a look.
No, not the generator type. They haven't used the plunger type in a long time.
I'd like one.
They do have some, usually the military, where you turn it and it's like a little generator, but most of them now use a battery, and you push one button to charge the capacitor,
I'm with
and then
David
set another
on
one
this. I
to
want the
release.
kind you push down. Those are fun.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's a lot more control to go and watch it go bang. I agree, Chris. But yeah, it was really interesting. This one, I think it was a year or two after 9/11. There was a couple of French documentary filmers that were shooting a documentary on a fireman that they followed him through training, through his first big fire on the New York City Fire Department. Well, guess what his first big emergency was? Yes, you guessed it. And so there was a lot of video in that you didn't see anywhere else. I've never seen anywhere else.
Chris knows some people that still use the old pump box, and let's watch what we talk about with censorship going on.
I know. I'm just saying that it was interesting to see, and it wasn't what was censored. It's just that when you're trying to put on a news story or something, you just have to condense it a lot. So you try and hit a few things, and you miss a lot that way. You lose a lot of detail and context.
I've seen some of those videos from India areas. They have a lot of weird videos on YouTube of accidents. A lot of Russian dash cam and European dash cam videos of accidents too.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. It's amazing to me how easy some cars just flip over when they get hit. That's it's interesting physics to me. You have a car can take a turn so well, and then you just give it a little bump and it goes blink up on its roof. So that's strange. But no, I like to see how people actually handle real situations, and that's one of the few times where you actually have a recording of the people dealing with the situation.
Those heavy haulers going up mud-slick mountains. Yeah, I've seen a few of those. I've seen a few where they flipped over and went back down the mountain again.
Oh, it's amazing. A big haul truck, a big, essentially a 2-axle truck, although it doesn't have a front axle. They're amazingly difficult to control on a wet road because the surface of a haul road is ground into a really, really fine powder. And when you get it wet, not just damp, but wet, it turns into like a grease. And those haul trucks have a big footprint. And man, it's amazing how easy they get out of. I mean, a pickup truck is vastly more controllable on a wet road than those things are. It's amazing.
Yeah, once they start sliding, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is another incident where women and men behave differently. Guys like the cowboy stuff. Women in general don't like to risk, serious accidents. So when it comes to like the haul trucks, I found the women drivers were generally a lot safer in terms of they didn't take the chances. The guys, on the other hand, when they get to the bottom of the ramp, they go a little extra fast and see if they can do a 360 at the bottom of the ramp.
Yeah, Aries, a lot of those roads get like that during rainy season.
It can be rainy season, or it can also be a water truck driver that's not paying attention to what he's doing. It's ridiculous.
Blindside said I had the scariest load ever. Once I got between Seattle and Canada on I-5, 115,000 pounds, started sliding down a hill towards stopped traffic. Yikes!
Yeah, that would be less than pleasant, I would think. I suppose there comes a point where you're just taking a look at the shoulder and saying, will that stop me better than all those cars? Yeah, I've slid off the road into the median once on some hard-packed snow. I was also one time up in Washington State. And just this little teeny rise in elevation, and there was a little snow there. And I mean, I saw a propane truck going about 5 miles an hour around just the bank turn on a freeway. And then somebody stopped in front of him and he hits his brakes and just starts sliding sideways about 5 feet before it stopped. Yep. That was pretty bad. Are you having? No, it's dihydrogen monoxide.
That's his favorite glass.
My favorite beverage. Now,
his favorite beverage is water. His favorite glass is that heavy Stein, that heavy beer mug, because the cats always try to drink from it at night after he goes to bed. And if it's a regular cup, they will tip it over. They won't drink water out of their bowl. They go after the water he leaves in his cup.
Yeah.
It's a cat thing.
Don't ask me. Cats are weird. So, anyhow, I just took my melatonin so I can go to bed. Again, do you guys want me to leave this thing running for a bit and Eva can turn it off later so you guys can keep chatting, or do you want me to just shut it down? I need a little bit of input here.
Yeah, it's 10:21 here, and he has to be at work at 7:45, about a half an hour from the house.
Yeah, pretty much.
Night, guys. Everybody seems to be going night.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're just going to shut her down. I'm thinking maybe Thursday nights will work out better. It depends on when I've got to get up because we never get a truck on Friday. But as long as we're doing just a short thing like this, I can go ahead and fit that in. But I think Thursday night would be better. We'll see. Once we stop getting trucks in a week or so, or we're just selling off our current inventory, then it won't be near as much of a problem.
Good night, everybody. Sleep well. And
good night, everybody.
Remember, if you come up with any questions during the week, Feel free to write them down so you can ask when he does a live stream again. And if you have any rocks you want to send us, that would be great. I like rocks.
That baby timber. Yeah. Its life cut short in its prime. Yes.
Night, everybody.
Nordmans are heavy.
Oh, yeah. Hopes high, powder dry, always. And plenty of toilet paper.
Good night, everybody. Okay.
Good night.
Shutting it down now.